You know that something is not right. Stagnation has become a pattern. Inertia is palpable. Negative energies are not invisible. They act silently in your mind. They conspire for you to remain in the same position, stuck in cycles that lead nowhere. They feed on your doubt. They thrive on your desire to please. Each time you hesitate, each time you delay a clear response, you feed this energy. The other person ignores your needs, holds back your impulse. You respond with understanding, with hope, but this only perpetuates the situation. The cycle is simple. The other person acts. They distance themselves. They disregard. They manipulate. You react. You wait. You believe. You tolerate. The pattern confirms itself. Nothing changes. Frustration grows. Strength fades. There is nothing confusing about this. It is simply confirmation that negative energy operates in your life. The bond only exists because you sustain it. Standing still is also a decision. You call it patience when you could call it exhaustion. You call it understanding when it is actually acceptance of the unbearable. The continuation of wear and tear is your choice. Today you live surrounded by uncertainties that should not exist. What you consider a connection is actually a vicious cycle that consumes your strength. Each day that passes, you feel more exhausted and less capable of acting. The truth is blunt. The more you allow these influences to dictate your rhythm, the slower you become. You don't need more time. You don't need more explanations. You need to cut off this energy that wants you in a state of inaction. Deciding to withdraw from this cycle is acknowledging that the strength is yours. And this strength will not come from empty promises or words that dissipate into the air. She comes from a firm and irrevocable choice. Reality has already been presented. You flounder in a sea of illusions. The routine turns into an invisible prison, where freedom is just a forgotten word. The other person knows this, and your allowing it to happen is, in a way, a recognition of your own fragility. The cycle persists. It feeds on repetition, on the normalcy you have accepted. When someone distances themselves, you seek explanations, but there are moments when there is nothing to explain. Silence is deafening, and you find yourself once again in a labyrinth of feelings. You have conditioned yourself to wait for scraps of attention, only to realize that every unfulfilled promise becomes a brick in the wall that separates you. The other person acts. They pretend, they ignore, and they return with excuses. And you disguise your indignation, but the frustration accumulates. You understand that you should do something, but the voices of doubt smother any impulse. The pattern is confirmed. You deceive yourself with temporary changes while the wear and tear continue to erode your essence. You observe the interactions around you, the relationships that flourish. Each shared laugh, each genuine moment becomes a distant memory. You long to feel that way again. But these comparisons will only exacerbate your pain. You begin to see that what should be simple has become an internal battle. What should be light is as heavy as lead. The bond remains, right? Because you believe there is still something to be salvaged. But this bond is not strong, it's a frayed rope ready to snap. And you already know this. Each time you adapt, a piece of you shatters. Promises are no longer words of hope. They are anchors that keep you tethered to a place you do not want to be. How long will you accept what no longer serves you? The expectation infiltrates your mind like a shadow, becoming part of your identity. You see yourself reflected in the eyes of others seeking approval, but the truth is immutable. They do not see you. They see convenience. And in that wait, you stop seeing yourself. You dissolve, reducing yourself to a smaller version of yourself. Negative energy seeps in, distorting your thoughts and emotions. The image you build of yourself becomes increasingly opaque, less and less vibrant. Your vitality succumbs as inertia becomes your new way of life. Hours pass, days drag on, but you remain. When you look at yourself, what do you see? A shadow of the person you could have been. Someone made of unmet expectations and forgotten dreams. The images of possibilities dissolve into smoke as you focus on the painful reality of what is. Others know that you fear the unknown. They know that the step forward is scarier than remaining in the shadow. This awareness gives power to those who do not care. They manipulate your need for acceptance and turn your hesitation into control. While you wait, they thrive. And the more you wait, the more you diminish yourself. It is not just the bond you sustain. It is a web of complacency that does not yield. If you do nothing, nothing will change. The cost is yours. And each day that passes, you pay a high price for maintaining this fragile connection. You have become the support of something that has no future. What once seemed safe becomes a trap. Now, face the stark truth. The strength you seek does not come from others. It resides within you. The choice to change, to break free from this cycle, is the only one that can give you back your life. Do not wait for change to come from outside. Time is not your ally. It is a thief that consumes your strength, your will. Deciding to cut this energy requires courage. It will not be easy. There will be resistance, there will be pain, but there will also be relief. The feeling of finally taking control of your existence. Reality has already been presented. Now it's time to act. The action doesn't need to be grandiose. A small but firm step. Free yourself from the chains that were not made for you. Recognize that your well-being is a priority. Choosing yourself can be the most revolutionary act you have ever done, and that choice doesn't need validation. You don't owe anything to anyone. Hear this, you are still in control. From this moment on, you begin to rethink the way you view your life. Every movement against inertia is a sign that you refuse to be a mere spectator. You are an agent in this reality. Review whenever you want to confirm. With each movement, you realize that reality doesn't unfold like a fairy tale. It is a raw chronicle filled with friction and complexities. What you expected to be easy growth turns into a constant struggle against invisible, increasingly heavy chains. Others are not the only ones responsible for this trap. You also built these walls, brick by brick, day after day. Postponed decisions pile up like debris, drying up the vitality that could be yours. And when you look ahead, you only see broken mirrors reflecting a fragmented self. You question whether it is worth it, if change will bring a new beginning or just a new kind of pain. This fear becomes a persistent echo, but fear is just a feeling. What really matters are the actions you decide to take. Fear can be a signal, but it doesn't have to be a destination. Meanwhile, you observe those around you. They move with purpose, laughing, sharing moments that now seem unreachable to you. Life passes before your eyes, almost like a film in which you are not the protagonist. Every laugh you hear is a reminder of what is missing in your days. But it's time to stop looking through the window. You need to step into the scene. You must confront the shadows that inhabit your being. She does not come with promises of comfort. The truth demands that you feel the weight of choice. Resistance is part of the process, and with every step you fail to take, the void expands. You find yourself trapped in this cycle not only by the presence of the other, but by the absence of yourself. There is a silent scream inside you asking for recognition. The call to action intensifies. It is an invitation to fight, not to flee. Refusing to change is a choice, and that choice comes at a cost, the cost of remaining in the shadow, and you can no longer allow yourself to be a mere spectator of your own life. The memories of who you were are immortalized in photographs you no longer look at. The idea of freedom is enticing, but that does not mean the journey will be simple. Deep down, you know that every step forward can destabilize what has been built so far. Relationships that seem secure may break, and perhaps that is the real fear. The possibility of an unknown future instead of a painful past. Stand up. Acknowledge your weaknesses, but do not allow them to rule your destiny. Every moment without action reinforces the idea that you do not deserve something better. The cycle of self-sabotage feeds on this. You must begin to walk towards your essence, not towards the expectations of others. When you finally shed your doubts, investing in an act of courage, you will feel the weight dissipate. The lightness that comes from freeing yourself from what does not serve you may be terrifying, and that terror is not an excuse to stay put. It is a sign that you are on the right path. Unfulfilled promises become distant echoes as you reconnect to what truly matters. Each detachment is a victory cry, a reminder that you are not destined to live under conditions imposed by others. Control is your own construct, and this construct can be dismantled if you decide it no longer serves you. The decisive moment arises. You feel the impulse burning within you, trying to break free. It is uncomfortable, it is unknown, and yet it is necessary. It is the moment not to look back, not to make promises to those who do not keep them. Deconstructing these beliefs will require strength. Doubt will try to whisper that you can't do it, that you are not capable. but you know that this voice is an echo of the past, an inheritance that you do not need to assume. The new narrative begins now. The decision to rise again may seem like a small step, but it is monumental. The world does not wait for your confirmation. You are the archetype of your own story, and this story is far from over. When you finally detach from what doesn't serve you, you will find space to breathe again. Every day, become more aware of small victories. Each act of autonomy resonates. Do not underestimate the power of a clear no. It echoes in the dimension of self-respect. You are ready to reject the chains that have held you down, to let go of the weight that does not belong to you. This freedom will not come easily, but it is within reach. Hours do not return, but the choice of how to fill them is in your hands. Time slips away, but what you do with these moments defines who you are. And you are strong enough to rewrite your own narrative, free from illusions. Reality has already been presented. Now it is time to act and be the agent of your transformation. Within you, an internal battle unfolds. A voice whispers that it is easier to remain. It promises comfort amid uncertainty. But this promise is a mirage, an empty echo that only amplifies the discomfort you already feel. You cannot ignore this resistance. It is embedded in every hesitant step, every moment when you question your own ability to change. Now imagine the weight of expectations. They are like invisible chains that bind you to a past that no longer resonates with your being. Others expect you to remain in this role, where the sacrifice of your freedom compensates for their need. And you find yourself repeating the same gestures, the same phrases, in the hope that something will change. But the truth is, while you adapt to this scenario, you distance yourself from the essence of what could be. The cycle is confirmed. You tolerate. You hear promises that never materialize. Hope turns into a shadow, a specter that haunts you. It whispers that maybe at some point things will get better. But deep down you know that this tomorrow never comes. Time is a thief that takes with it not just the days, but also the vitality that was yours. And when you find yourself surrounded by this maze of illusions, it is natural to feel a deep desire to escape. What should be a safe space for you has turned into a battlefield where fear and doubt relentlessly duel. The feeling of being trapped becomes suffocating. Each time you try to move, each attempt to break these invisible chains, a new weight appears, reminding you how difficult it is to win this fight. You observe others around you. They laugh, share the lightness of significant moments while you only watch. Each other's smile is a mirror reflecting the absence of what you desire. And this comparison, this constant measuring of your happiness against theirs, only intensifies your pain. Every laugh turns into a reminder of a life that flows, of joy that seems so distant. This disparity is an open wound, and with each passing day it worsens. Now imagine the freedom of reconnecting with who you really are, abandoning the need for approval, forgetting the burden you've carried for so long. The first step may seem terrifying, but it is also an act of courage and authenticity. When you shed the expectations, you will begin to discover new facets of yourself. Facets that were stifled, hidden under layers of conformity and fear. In this process of self-discovery, you will find the true essence of your life. Each small victory accumulates, and you will realize that you don't need to wait for permission to live fully. Others do not hold the key to your happiness. That key has always been in your hands. By taking that first step, you not only move away from a draining situation, but also begin to open doors that have been closed for a long time. The resistance you feel is valid. It is part of the struggle, a natural response to the unknown. Every push for change will bring an avalanche of questions and insecurities, but don't let that shake you. Remember that every emotion is an opportunity to understand yourself better, to fully accept yourself. Don't be afraid to feel this. Discomfort is a sign that you are about to enter a new territory. Life is not a fairy tale, but you can write your own narrative. Don't cling to the distorted vision of what should be. Reality is what you make of it. Moments of doubt are just shadows of old beliefs. Every choice to move forward is a step toward clarity. Each day you can decide whether you want to continue being a spectator or become the protagonist of your own story. Your strength is growing. You are freeing yourself from the shackles that have held you for so long. And as you advance, you will realize that you don't have to face this alone. There is a support network around you, friends, family, even strangers who walk beside you in this quest for freedom. Embrace this connection. It is a reminder that loneliness is not your destiny. You are not doing this just for yourself. Do it for the future that still lies ahead of you. Every step you take echoes into eternity, and this can be the beginning of something beautiful. If you decide to move forward, to choose to free yourself from what no longer serves, you will find not only yourself, but a world full of possibilities. Reality has already been presented. It's time to take action. You will no longer look back.